Hey and welcome back to another episode of Just Call Me Josie. In today's video I am very excited to be sharing with you guys my entire Makeup Geek matte eyeshadow collection. Now there will of course be a part 2 to this video where I will be sharing with you guys all the shimmers as well as the foil eyeshadows that I own from Makeup Geek, so stay tuned for that. Makeup Geek was actually the first brand that I started to build my single eyeshadow collection with way back in the day. They sort of started my whole eyeshadow passion obsession, if you will. So Makeup Geek eyeshadows definitely hold a special place in my heart, and they are to this day still my favorite matte eyeshadow, so that says a lot. I will make sure to swatch all of the shades on my hand as I sort of talk about them throughout the video, but there will also be comparison swatches of all of the shades on my arm at the end of the video, so make sure you stay tuned for that as well. So without further ado, let's get straight into all the matte eyeshadows that I own from Makeup Geek. So first up I have this little C palette. This palette holds everything that I need to make a really beautiful gradient, smoked out, blown out crease and everything in between. So let's get straight into these shades, and then I have some more colorful ones as well in another palette. But these are, like I said, my must-haves, can't live without, use pretty much every day, and I have repurchased several of them multiple times, and I also have backups of several of these ones in here because I don't want to be without them a single minute of my life, pretty much. First up we have the shade right here, and this is Peach Smoothie. It's a light creamsicle peachy shade. This happens to be the single-handedly most used eyeshadow in my collection out of all brands. This is the one that I have repurchased the most. And there you have a swatch of Peach Smoothie. It's absolutely beautiful in the crease as a transitional shade if you have a light fair skin tone. This one is magical. I use it pretty much in every single eye look. And right next to it we have the shade Creme Brûlée that is currently in my project pan. I will link it up here if you are interested in project panning. And this one I use pretty frequently as well, as you can tell. If I want to go for a more smoky defined look, I will usually start out with Creme Brûlée as a transition shade instead of Peach Smoothie, so those two kind of act the same way depending on the look that I'm going for. And there you have a swatch of Creme Brûlée right there, super creamy and smooth to the touch. This is a really warm burnt orangey yellow, I would say, and this one is also beautiful, blown out all throughout the crease. And it warms up any look if you're just looking for just a little hint of warmth without it being super crazy. It's not a neon orange, it's sort of a bit more toned down, so I definitely get a lot of use out of Chickadee as well. If you're into really warm creases, then I would definitely suggest Chickadee. And there you have a swatch of Chickadee. Here we have the shade Desert Sands, and this is a dirty sort of camel brown, which is a tiny bit of yellow and green undertones, I would say. Hence the dirty in this shade. Desert Sands is actually beautiful all over the lid for an all matte eye look. If you want to go for a sort of smoky eye, then this one is beautiful on the lid. Then we have the shade Morocco, and this is definitely one of my all-time favorites. I would forever repurchase this shade. If you're into the really warm looks, then this would be a great addition to your collection. This is a special orange in my mind, at least. It's not neon, it's more of a muted orange. It is a bit darker and also has that burnt base, which makes it really flattering. Now Morocco could be a great transition shade if you have a deeper skin tone and you want something to really show up. Next in line is the shade Frappe, or Frappe, I don't know how to pronounce that at all. And this is a great crease shade to start out with to build up a smoky eye. This is definitely an essential in my collection. I get a lot of use out of Frappe. It's a great sort of neutral in-between brown that leans a bit more on the warm side. They also have a latte, which is sort of the same depth as Frappe, but it's just a bit more cool tone, so depending on what you prefer. Next up we have the shade Cocoa Bear, and I feel like this is everyone's favorite. Everyone loves Cocoa Bear, and for good reason. It's definitely a classic brown. It is sort of mid-tone, it's a bit darker than Frappe, but it has a really warm red undertone. Now this is a beautiful shade for the outer V to deepen up any look, and I get a lot of use out of this one as well, definitely a staple. Bitten is actually a pretty unique shade that I would suggest checking out. It is absolutely stunning. It has a really red undertone, leans a bit plum, but it is still a brown almost. Sort of a red plummy brown, if you will. And yeah, it is absolutely amazing. Highly recommend Bitten. Takes any eye look to the next level. This is absolutely beautiful as a smoky eye or on the lower lash line for a subtle pop of color. And then lastly, in this Essential Mattes palette, we have the shade Americano, and this one is super deep and chocolatey, and I love the undertone of this one. This is my favorite deepening up shade from Makeup Geek. I get a lot of use out of this one as a sort of a smoky liner on the lash line as well. So let's move on to this larger Z palettes. I have some mattes on the first 2 rows, and then I have some shimmers as well. And like I said before, we will go over the shimmers in part 2 of this video series. First up, we have the shade Preppy, and this is a really fun, unique, interesting shade in my opinion, because this is sort of your cocky brown. It has a really strong green undertone, which I think is pretty cool. You don't see that with every brand at all, so if you're looking for unique shades, that could be a great matte to pick up. And if you're also trying to sort of step away from the neutral browns and you want to spice it up just a tad bit, but you don't want to go in with something really crazy, then Preppy is a great option. Now we're moving on to the shade Wild West, and this is sort of your medium brown, but it has a slightly more purple undertone, I would say. So this one is quite neutral, almost leaning cool. Then we're moving on to the shade Mocha, and this is just your typical standard brown pretty much. I do get some use out of this one, but I do prefer Americano, like I said, for deepening up. But depending on what undertone you like, then Mocha could be a great option as well for you. Then we're moving on to the shade Vintage, and this is a great shade to have if you're into purples. Purples have become really popular lately, and Vintage is a great shade to sort of start building up your purple eye look with, to put in the crease. Then you can sort of pair it with some even more purpley shades like those over there, and those complement each other really well. So if you're a purple lover, then definitely check out the shade Vintage. Cherry Cola is another beautiful shade. Now this one is sort of similar to Bitten, but Bitten leans more red, whereas this one leans a bit more plummy purple, I would say. And this one is great if you want to sort of step away from the browns and try something a little bit different, but still kind of subtle and muted. This is absolutely beautiful. Now we are moving into these purples, and first up we have the shade Curfew, and both of these purples are the best formulated purples that I have found out of all the brands. Just look at that swatch, how non-patchy it is, and it is a purple, and those can be really hard to formulate. It is quite dry to the touch, but like I said, not patchy at all. I'm wearing it on my face today, or on my eyes I should say, that's more accurate. And I'm wearing Motown as well to deepen the look up. And the last purple is the shade Motown right here, and that is a way more deep shade than Curfew, and it also leans a bit more blue. It is sort of a grape purple, I would say, great to deepen up the look. And here we have a super fun shade that I did not think I would get a lot of use out of when I purchased it. This is Poppy, and boy was I wrong. I actually use this one quite often. It is super fun to pop in the crease, and I'm wearing it on my inner crease today, so you can see it in action. It is super stunning. It's a really bright sort of corally orange shade, I would say. I'm just gonna show you what it looks like when you pick it up on your finger. This is the Corrupt from Makeup Geek, and this is by far the best black that I have ever found. So there you have Corrupt right there, the blackest black, and it is not patchy. Now the great thing about this one, apart from the fact that it is the most pigmented and that it doesn't look patchy, is that it stays black on the eyes even when you blend it out. It doesn't turn like a really unflattering light gray, which is not what you're going for at all when you're going in with the black. This one actually stays black,
walking alone, the streets are empty.
Okay guys, so that concludes my entire Makeup Geek matte eyeshadow collection. Hopefully you guys found that helpful. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up before you go, and feel free to subscribe as well. I upload 3 new videos every week. Hopefully I will see you in my next video. Take care until then. Bye!